Final Destination 2. Arguably the most iconic of the franchise, and today we're going to take a look at the VHS copy I hold in my hands. We're going to talk about everything before the movie and the movie itself before I break it down into positives, negatives, and give it a rating. Let's get into this thing. Welcome back to the Ecto Violence channel. My name is Alec. Today we're talking Final Destination 2 on VHS. Now, if you don't know, I did just review previously Final Destination on VHS, and then this is mostly in anticipation of the release of Final Destination Bloodlines next month. However, I am a huge fan of this franchise. One of the most popular videos on my channel is the Final Destination 3 Choose Their Fate edition, where I'm talking about the special feature on Final Destination 3 that a lot of people seem to remember. Now, I actually just got this one in the mail. You can actually get Final Destination 2 on VHS for under $10 shipped to you on eBay regularly. It's not an expensive tape, which I really like. They must have just sold and printed a lot of copies of this movie. Now, before we pop this tape in, I want to briefly talk about the director. He also went on to direct The Final Destination, which is also known as Final Destination 4, the only one I don't like in the franchise. I'm still going to watch it and review it in anticipation of the new one, but I like every one in this franchise except that one. But anyway, he was a second unit director, which is basically people who get up all the pickup shots, like shots of the city, shots of cars driving, anything like that that's kind of extra stuff for movies. On movies that can afford to have a second unit, especially. But he also directed Snakes on a Plane. And then, unfortunately, he died in, I think, 2011 or something. Pretty much a bummer ending to that story, but let's pop this tape in, shall we? The first trailer we get is for Vin Diesel in A Man Apart, a kick-ass action thriller movie starring Vin Diesel with a goatee. The ticket price covers the whole seat, but you'll only need the edge. That type of movie, you know what I mean? And I've never seen this movie, to be fair, but judging by this, it is not great. However, entertaining and fascinating. Then we get a trailer for the remake of Willard that stars Crispin Glover. Now, personally, I'm a huge Crispin Glover guy. I love Crispin Glover. Not just from Back to the Future. I love them in River's Edge. The big ones are Friday the 13th, The Final Chapter, Back to the Future, River's Edge, Wild at Heart, The Doors, Charlie's Angels, Hot Tub Time Machine, and 30 or 40, 50 movies that I'm not even listing here. Sorry, I don't mean to go on a Crispin Glover rant, but I really like him. Unfortunately, this Willard movie it's decent. It's been a few years since I watched it. I just remember the cat scene and being traumatized by it, so I don't like that. Then we get a glorious ad for Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. And I've actually reviewed that on VHS last winter, so go check that out. And similar to the first Final Destination, we get I think it's the same eBuzz ad for New Line.
Where can you get the latest, hottest, and coolest word on what's new? Get online at New Line's eBuzz.
And one of my favorite things that they put in front of VHS and sometimes even DVDs when you had already bought the DVD is an advertisement for DVD, the format itself.
DVD. See it. Buy it. Own it. Watch it once. Watch it twice. Spend hours watching extras beyond the movie and enter the world of stars and directors and the magic they make.
These things are all over late VHSs, and especially the later you get. They're like, all right, you're still buying VHS, you fucking loser. If they could only see me now. Then the movie starts, and we get into the real fun. It's the 1-year anniversary of Flight 180, the events from the first movie. While the credits roll, we're sort of listening to a TV interview, and our main character wakes up during this TV interview. And it's basically a guy talking about that event and the forces and death itself versus the devil and all this crazy shit. It's fun, it sets the mood, I like it. Reminds me of a time when I was, I don't know, very young, maybe 3. It's one of my earliest memories, is listening to talk radio at like 4 in the morning with my grandma. And I was just in bed with her. I think she was asleep, and I was just like, I woke up, and she always had talk radio stuff on. And it was like a guy talking about being abducted by aliens. And I don't know why. That's one of my earliest memories, and it just so weird. And then we kind of get our setup, right? I do find it funny how her friend just keeps joking about sex with her dad.
Road flares, sunblock, mace.
Condoms, whips, chains. Just kidding, Mr. Corman.
Can we go get the guys? I'm getting horny.
So something I do want to point out, in the first Final Destination VHS review I did, I basically did a little quick comparison of the flight with and without the characters on it, like his vision versus the other one, and the timing on them. Similar to the first one, though, this one, the vision is a lot longer than the actual scene itself. Now, that's just movie making to some degree, right? But also, a thought occurred to me during this one that it actually is that the events have completely changed since they're not there. And evidence is of that when the logging truck goes by and her friends are killed first, basically in the incident still. And then she's saved by the cop, which we'll get to those implications later. But so let's talk about this actual accident, or at least the vision of it, because that's the good one, right? This has got to be the best movie crash of all time. I'll probably do a top 10 movie crashes list at some time. So let's go down the list, right? The cop spills the coffee on his lap. He looks down, he looks up. The log smashes right through him, and it's a great effect. And it is obviously terrifying. If you've ever been driving on the highway, this is all too relatable. You see a logging truck and you're like, oh, fuck that. I ain't driving near that shit. Get the fuck out of here, bro. Get the fuck out of here. Then we get the biker getting smashed by his own motorcycle. The coke dude is hit by a semi. The businesswoman kind of like hits a log and flips over, assumably dies. The mom and the teenager straight up blow up. And then her and her friends, they tumble. And then the party dude, like, explodes and is, like, on fire in front of her eyes. And that is such a graphic, like, scene to me. Like, it's raw as fuck, like, watching this guy burn alive and scream for help. Even if he is a douchebag. At the police station, the cokehead, I mean, I don't even say that derogatory. I just mean, like, I don't know the character's name. I don't know what else to call him. And that's what he's up to, so... Anyway, he mentions the different strokes curse, which references actors Gary Coleman, Dana Plato, and Teddy Bridges not dying, mind you, just having like hardships after their film, which is obviously not comparable to these people dying and stuff. I don't know, it's very weird. And then the rest of these people got to start dying, right? That's our formula. We don't know at this point, but they are going to start happening backwards in order. So this guy returns to his apartment. He's the lottery winner, right? He's got a brand new iMac. What's really funny is I have one of those sitting in my storage unit right now. He has that, he puts on like this nice new watch, he spent all this money, and then he just decides to heat up nasty old Chinese food and some frozen fish sticks for dinner. Like, I wouldn't be buying a watch, I would be probably just like ordering pizza, but like, I wouldn't be cooking, especially old nasty shit like that. But it's amusing, and it leads to his death. It's that spaghetti toss, That'll get you. But when the ladder smashes through his face, it's an awesome scene. This is maybe one of the best examples of the tense anxiety you could feel while watching one of these movies. And a lot of horror movies rely on that, right? It's different in these movies because in a slasher movie, for example, you're expecting Freddy Krueger or Jason or, something like that to happen to kill these people. Somebody's got to show up. Well, in this scenario, anything and everything could kill this guy. And it's clear that it's all trying to do so. So it's just a game of when and what is going to succeed and how. And I don't know, I think it's built wonderfully. This is one of the best examples in the franchise, in my opinion, is this death. Meanwhile, our main character goes to see Clear. And I always had an issue with her name, Clear. It's not Claire, it's Clear. I'm not even going to harp on it long, just come on. She ends up coming out of the loony bin to help her. And then we get the dentist scene, and this is another perfect example of that tense anxiety I was talking about. It may even be a better example than the one before. Maybe it's not, though, because in this one you kind of are expecting it to be the fish the whole time, like the shit that's falling in his mouth or something in there. And then he gets completely saved in there and killed outside by the glass. In a gnarly and awesome death, by the way. And as part of the standard procedure in these movies, or at least what should have been continuously had they been able to pull it off, but is only in, 3 out of 5 of the movies? They go and see the mortician, Tony Todd. And he explains this whole new life can defeat death thing, like, possibly anyway. Very vaguely, cryptically, And we get the wonderful, wonderful elevator kill. Who among us does not have anxiety about somehow dying in an elevator? I don't know, maybe I'm just an anxious person. And this, right after this kill is where the movie sort of loses me. You know what I mean? I think, just like in the first movie, the third act is the weakest part of this movie. Sort of slows down and tries to change things up, and neither time does it really do it for me, you know what I mean? It's not bad, it's just like it goes mediocre, you know what I'm saying? I completely lose all interest until the explosion at the hospital and Clear and Eugene finally die. And that's a bummer. But just like the first movie, this one picks up at the end with an awesome scene. The barbecue kill. Not much for, tense, build up and stuff like that. Sometimes these out of nowhere shocking kills, similar to the bus in the first movie, come out of nowhere and just surprise you in the best way possible. That scene of him exploding and then parts of him landing on the table, and then the movie ends. It's very beautiful tale. So let's talk about the positives of Final Destination. First and foremost, the cast. I think the cast is excellent. I have no notes. The characters themselves, some of them are very trash, some of them are annoying as hell, but the cast played those characters very well, I think. The car scene at the beginning makes this just up there, you know what I mean? This is obviously the most iconic of the Final Destination movies, and it's because of that scene. Speaking of that scene, it goes on to have some of the best deaths in the Final Destination franchise. I've mentioned this before. It isn't my favorite. I think my personal favorite's Final Destination 3. I don't even know if it's explainable, but the first time I watched that, it was a certain point in my life. I was like 14 or 15. Watched it on like HBO or Cinemax during a weekend day from school, Probably had like a DiGiorno or something. Just watched Final Destination 3. It was great. And I want to briefly talk about the music, not the score necessarily. So there's music by The Sounds. There's obviously the AC/DC Highway to Hell song. I just think music is a very integral part to these movies. I mentioned it in the Final Destination review because of the John Denver song appearing 3 times, and even appearing in cover versions in the credits in this movie. The third movie obviously having the Love Roller Coaster song, as well as the Turn Around, Look at Me. It's just very fascinating to me. I think it's notable and interesting with this franchise, how they tie in music. As far as negatives go, again, it's really just going to be that third act. It's a dip for me in the story and my attention span with it, I guess. Again, I don't think it's bad, just gets a little mediocre. Before I rate this movie, why don't you jump in the comments down below, let me know what you think of Final Destination 2, and if you're excited to see Final Destination Bloodlines next month. My rating for this movie is going to be a solid 4 out of 5 hearts. Final Destination I gave, I believe, a 4.5 out of 5 hearts. I like this one just a little bit less than the first one, but I still think it's great. Holds up, and forever holds a place in cars and movies tied together, you know what I mean? If you like this video, be sure to check out this one and hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.